Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Quarter Life Questions. This is episode 5, and if this is your first time here, be sure to go back and check our other episodes out. My name is Gino, and today I'm going to be talking to you just about some topics I've thought about during the week, and also in this episode, for the first time, we're going to be discussing listener questions. So we got some questions in from listeners on our Instagram, so we're going to discuss some of them topics as well. Never claim to be a professional in any of these things, guys. These are all just my thoughts as a 25-year-old navigating through life. So, firstly, the first thing, my notes are on the left. If you're new here, my notes are on the left. I'm just talking nonsense and you're here listening to me, so I appreciate it. Right, first thing, having a guide for things. This is great. And I actually thought about this in work, this topic, and they say, like, obviously, you can have a girl for things also, but the meaning of it is, so if you say, oh, there's a guy for that. I think about it in work often. So I sell cars, and obviously I don't know anything about fixing cars. So we've got workshop managers and mechanics to fix them. So there's a guy for it, and he's way better than I'd ever be at it. So it's important to have these people all in your life throughout different things, to go to for advice, to go to for guidance, to go to tell you when you're doing stuff wrong. So for example, at the moment I'm looking at getting some new equipment for doing these videos, and I was trying to research different cameras and different microphones and soundboards, and I didn't have a clue about it. But luckily my cousin, who is a music producer, DJ, graphic designer, you name it, he does it. And I was just chatting to him about it, and he was like, let me sort it out. So he's just going to put together things I need to buy and tell me why I need them, why they're the best for what I'm going to do, and then I'm just going to buy them, because he's my guy for that. Anything to do with graphic design, sound, or music, or any of the sorts, he is the guy I always ask. And it's important to have these guys. For example, when we started off Caffe Pompeii, we needed help setting up our email marketing. Connor Sunderland, who's on previous episodes, was our guy for that. If I ever need advice, something to do with property or something like that, I have a guy for it. It's my dad. His years of experience with it. If I need advice, in sales, I've got obviously my boss, Paul. I've got previous managers that I go to, that I have questions to, and then you just always, it's nice to have a guy for things. And even I couldn't plumb anything or fix anything electrical or anything like that. You have guys for it. So it's important to collect your people to help you out with things that you're just not able to do yourself, and that can do better for you. Save yourself the time, save yourself the hassle, and then you'll have your skills that you're able to push or hand out to someone else. And it's just that you make a little ecosystem of people that can all help each other, and it's great. You don't sit there and cut your own hair, you go to the barber to do it. It's important to just have people for things, and just notice people's skills and what they're good at and utilize it. And not saying use people, but obviously return the favor to them. But I think you can save yourself a lot of time not trying to just be the guy that does everything, and just having people to help you out and give you advice along the way on different things that you're doing. Then this other thing, one second, I want to make this a little bigger. So this quote I heard, so change happens when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of making the change. So change happens when the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of making the change. So one thing I can relate this to straight off the bat is weight loss. So there comes a stage where you just look at yourself and you're like, fucking hell, I look shit. And then the pain of losing the weight is obviously dieting, exercising, changing your habits, and the pain of that becomes a lot less than the pain of looking at yourself and thinking, you're hating the way you look. And then it comes the same. I know I speak about it all the time, and I'm going to keep hammering this home all the time. The same comes about jobs. Eventually this miserable job that you may be in, the pain of actually staying in that job becomes worse than the pain of having to move on and try to find a new job. And starting that new job and meeting all the new people and putting yourself into waters that you've never been in before, and taking yourself out of your comfort zone. And eventually that's the beauty of life, is trying to take yourself out of your comfort zone as much as possible, and the pain of that will become greater than actually. So basically, the more comfortable you get in your comfort zone, the more you'll experience, and the more life you'll get to live, basically. And then suddenly the thoughts of just sitting in your comfort zone become so painful that the pain of moving out of your comfort zone will just completely wipe that out. So that's just, I thought it was a good quote. I thought it was something worth talking about and worth thinking about. And I'm probably butchering it, to be honest, a little bit. I feel like there's someone that can definitely talk more and deeper about it, but I just think it was a really, really good quote. Something else I've been looking at during the week, or during the last few weeks, is like, dying professions, and things that I feel like people our age are ignoring and looking past. I was in trying on a suit the other day in a suit shop, and I seen it was like their 100-year anniversary from basically 2022 was their 100 year, and I was thinking, like, so there was probably two generations in that, and then this man who was in his 60s was probably the last generation. So I asked him, were any of his kids thinking of going into tailoring or anything like that, and he said no. So that's probably going to be the end of a family run business that's been there for over 100 years in the centre of town. And it's just like things like that, golds, people that work with gold, tailors, things like that, they're kind of a dying breed, and it's a shame that there's not younger people pushing it and younger people going for it. And I follow actually a guy on Instagram over in Dubai from Dublin, and the Dubai Tailor is his name. I'll link him here, but and he's just like, I don't know what age he is, but he looks maybe about 28 to 30, and he's tailoring over in Dubai, and I was like pretty impressed to see someone like that, because I feel like it's a really, maybe I just don't know enough people, but I feel like it's kind of one of the dying professions, and like everyone's, I feel like there's a lot of them out there. And what it was making me think about was, are people our age not growing up quick enough to put themselves into the positions of taking over like our parents' businesses, and people who are getting older, and our people who are getting older working for longer now because there's no interest in taking over their company. Like, a tailor I know could work technically for a long time, but how much more would a man like that want to work? But he probably doesn't want to close up his family business that's been around for 100 years. And maybe things just die out. I know, like, obviously in the past there's professions that just don't exist anymore, and I know that there's like machines that you can stand in and get your body 3D scanned, and then you get your suits tailor made then, but still someone has to make them. And it's just something I was thinking about. Maybe it's just in Ireland too. Like, I know if you go to Thailand or anything like that, like, there's tailors everywhere, and you go to any of them Asian countries. So maybe it's just an Irish thing that it's not that popular here and never has been that popular here. I know, like, Louis Copeland is still one of the biggest suit companies in Ireland, and he seems to be doing pretty good. So maybe it's not the case. Maybe it's just a small town, and just being in a small town and seeing things like this closing up and things like that ending. Pubs being sold to people outside of the family that would have been in families for years, and just things like that. And it just makes me wonder, is there like is that being lost in our generation? You're taking over the family business, or you're following in your parents' footsteps and what they did. Just I don't know. And like, obviously you don't have to do that, and some people just don't have interest in taking over what their parents were doing, and they can often grow up to hate what their parents did because they've been around it for so long, and they have no interest, or they might have seen their parents struggle for money, or just struggle with time, or weren't around because they were working so much. So it could be something to do with that as well. They're just happier to get a different job, or do a different apprenticeship, or whatever it is. But it was just something that it kind of clicked to me when I was talking to the man that was fitting the suit, just thinking it would be a shame to see that end just because there's no one else there to take it on. And anyway, that was a bit sad. Sorry, it's actually quite late. I'm recording this quite late, so I'm feeling a little bit I'm not as switched on as I usually am. I usually have a coffee before one of these, so bear with me. Another one I have, and I use it for these videos, is deleting obstacles from things. So what I've tried to do is, we've been making these videos now for about 2 years, not this particular segment, but videos in general. And one thing that always delayed me and stopped me making videos is the obstacle of actually making the video. Setting up the camera, setting up the tripod, taking the tripod out of the press, getting the laptop set up, writing out the ideas. And I found what I've been trying to do now in everything in life is just getting rid of obstacles. So even though it makes my room a little bit messy, this ring light tripod thing just stays out all the time. It doesn't get put away. I use now my iPhone for the camera and the microphone, which I am going to have to change just quality wise. But at the moment, all I need is my phone. I have my laptop here with my ideas beside me, and a ring light. 3 things. I could technically do it anywhere. And if I don't do it, that's my own fault. Laziness, and I haven't done it for that reason. Other things like going to the gym. So rather than, like, going to work, coming home from work, getting changed to go to the gym. I just bring my clothes with me. Just get rid of the obstacle coming home of something that can delay you from getting there to the gym. Always having food in the house. Always trying to have shopping done and food in the house, because there's nothing worse, and everyone knows the feeling when you go to cook your dinner, you've got nothing there, and then straight away you're on to takeaways. And it's just any sort of obstacle will just throw you off. Like in the same amount of time you get to takeaway, you could go to the shop, buy your food, come back and cook it. But so deleting obstacles out of your life is just, I think, really important, and it's something I've been working on massively. Having your books beside your bed, just the smallest things, like Joe. The main thing for me that I learned was doing the videos, having the stuff just kind of basically sitting in my room, so I have no choice, having the phone there ready to go, and having the ideas written out throughout the week. So I'm not just sitting there on a Monday or Sunday thinking, okay, now I need to do a video, now I need to come up with an idea, now I need to set it up, now I need to do this. So just deleting obstacles. Same with the gym, just getting ready to go, having stuff ready, pack it the night before, take it with you to work, go straight after work then. And I think a lot of people will benefit from this in a lot of ways. For example, we're studying. Here, ironically, me telling people how to study, I've never studied a day in my life, but I'd imagine if you have a desk in your room, have your stuff out on your desk, have like a drawing or a whiteboard there with what you need to do on it, and just delete any obstacles, if you had to like clear out the kitchen table to set up all your books and set up your laptop every time you want to study, it would be a lot easier. Just have your own desk, your own space, all the stuff is already there, and you don't have to put it away, take it out, and it just removes the obstacle of sitting down to do the work. And that can count for pretty much anything in your life. If you can just remove obstacles so you can get objectives done, it will completely blow it out, and you'll see huge improvements. And I'm going to touch on that a little further now in one of the questions we got asked in a second. And just another quote I heard I want to just touch on: treat yourself like somebody you're responsible for taking care of, so take your own advice. So this one is really, really good, because very few people ever do it. So have you ever been in a situation where a friend of yours comes up to you and tells you something their partner did or something their partner said, or you're like, oh, my girlfriend was saying this to me, and the first thing you say is, oh, get rid of her, break up with her, leave her. What are you doing? Don't take that. You don't need to hear that. You're your own person. Get rid of her, delete her, I was gonna say. But yeah, or whatever it is. And how many times have you been in that situation? And then you flip it, and you put yourself in the situation where you're actually there. And the first thing you think of is, I shouldn't be putting up with this. But you don't do anything about it. You leave it go on for months and months before you break up. No, not everyone, obviously, but it's just an example. So if you're being mistreated and you think to yourself, geez, if I told my friends about this, they'd all tell me to leave her. Or if my friend told me this story, I would tell him to leave her. But you don't. And it's because you're afraid of being alone, blah, 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 whatever it is. It's not the point. The point is taking your own advice. Or it's also like, if you see someone that looks unhealthy and you think, oh, geez, they shouldn't be doing that. Like, they shouldn't be taking drugs, or they shouldn't be drinking, or they shouldn't be doing whatever they're doing. But then you'll go and do the same thing, and it's like hypocrisy and all them other things. But if you can treat yourself like that person you're trying to look out for, think of how improved and how much better your life would actually be. Like if you could treat yourself like you're even your own child, and you're like, okay, well, you have to exercise because you're going to be unhealthy. You can't eat that. You have to eat this good stuff. Don't let that person treat you like this. Don't let that job treat you like that. Don't settle for this. Don't not study. Don't skip school to go, don't skip college to go drinking every day, or whatever it is. And if you could actually trick your mind into treating yourself like someone you care about, because a lot of people, and I think this is maybe kind of dark, but a lot of people don't care about themselves as much as they care about other people. And if you could just teach yourself to care about yourself like you're your own child, like you're responsible for this person and that person is you. You could push yourself to do so much more. You could take yourself out of such shitty situations. You could put yourself in better situations, and you'll be, because you see them. You just choose to ignore them. You see them. You see the mistreatment. You see the slacking that you do. You see the work you're not putting in. You see this bad habits that you have, but you just choose to ignore them because it's a lot harder to tell yourself and to teach yourself exactly what to do. But if it was reversed and someone was coming to you for advice on the thing that you're doing wrong, you'd tell them the exact right advice. And that's something I think you should watch out for, and something I'm trying to catch myself with a lot more. And I catch myself all the time. And if you start thinking about it, you'll catch yourself too, and you'll see, well, I'd hate for my best friend or my son or daughter or my brother or sister to do that, or to be treated this way, or to be in a job like that. but you'll find yourself in that exact scenario and doing nothing about it. So keep an eye on that. Now, I'm going to touch on some things that we got sent in last week. So I'm going to read through this message, just an Instagram message we got. I don't like looking down from the camera, but I can't really help it, so just bear with me. So procrastinating. So I put up, sorry, I haven't actually read this yet, so a topic that you want me to discuss. So procrastinating, background on this. I took a year out before college and said that it's my chance to build a business and never thought the timing was right. Now I'm 2 years in to college, and every summer of college I have great opportunities to officially start and build what could be a small and successful business. But now I'm not in a position to because of the commitment to college. On one hand, I wish I had tried to start as soon as possible, but on the other hand, I don't regret it as I've learned a lot through college. The main thing it has taught me is to strategically make informed decisions and not procrastinate for too long. As well as that, I have watched and listened to a lot of people speak about procrastinating, but I think building on it and learning to make informed decisions is a major point that's never focused on. And the only way of learning how to make an informed decision is through experience gained by doing and not just thinking about it. Right. That was actually more than I thought it was going to be. But anyway, the gist of it is this guy wanted to start a business, didn't do it, chose college instead, has the time during the summer to do it, but is choosing not to because of college commitments, and he's felt like he's procrastinating every summer, I think, or he procrastinated for too long in the business idea and now he's let it slip. But he doesn't regret it because college has taught him about making decisions strategically and informed and not procrastinating for too long in them. Right. So when we started Caffe Pompeii, one topic we wanted to discuss with each other, and me, Sam, and Nigel at the time, were we don't want to just waste too much time trying to think about everything, and because a lot of people, and especially like I find myself watching a lot of YouTube videos, and they say you're taking in all this great information, but you're doing nothing. You're absolutely taking no action. You're doing nothing about it. And I think making the decisions to try things and to actually do them is so much better than just sitting there thinking about it all the time. But you do, as he said, you have to be strategic about it. Like, you can't just jump blindly into things and you'll find yourself wasting as much time as you would procrastinating. Now, the only thing about this is it wasn't actually a question now that I've read it, so I'm finding it a little bit hard to answer it. And I don't know if I've ever said this in any of the videos, but I don't rehearse any of these videos. I like to do them off the cuff. I find them more comfortable, and sometimes I think you can kind of get caught in the hot maybe like this. But if I do hum and haw for too long, I'll just edit it out. But the only way of learning to make an informed decision is through experience gained by doing and not just thinking about it. Yeah, so I think he's right. I do think that you can only make decisions through experience, but I do think you can make decisions through other people's experience, and that's something that people don't take enough advantage of, because whatever you've done, someone's probably tried to do it. Whatever you're going to try to do, someone's already probably tried to do it, and they've probably made a video about it, they probably wrote a book about it, or you might just know them personally and they'll be able to tell you about it. And that's something I think you need to take more advantage of. But to procrastinate as little as possible is really important. Just getting up and doing things, and not to be just pulling everything back to the gym and stuff like that. But one point of that is, like, when someone says they want to get healthy, I'll start on Monday. Oh, that is the most annoying thing I've ever heard. Just start now. Why do you need to start on Monday? Start on a Tuesday night. Start on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Whenever you get the thought, just do it. Because the longer you push it out, the more likely you're going to come up with an excuse to not do something. This counts for the gym. This counts for your homework. This counts for your study. This counts for starting a business. This counts for going traveling, doing whatever you want. Obviously make an informed decision that you're doing the right thing, but some things are already figured out for you. Exercising is already figured out for you. It's already the right thing to do. Eating healthy is already the right thing to do. Moving country, okay, that might be something you might think on for a few months before actually making the decision. Getting into a relationship with someone, something you think on. What college you're going to do, something you think on. Don't act sporadically on important decisions, but don't waste too long thinking about them and just putting them off. Because as he said here, you'll eventually just not do it, and you might live in regret for not trying. Now, luckily for him, he's actually quite enjoying college, and that's a good sign, and I like to hear that. And he's not living in regret, and I'm sure he's only, I don't know him or his age, but I'm sure he's only a young guy if he's 2 years into college, and he'll have loads of time to do whatever he wants to do in the future. But thank you very much for that. I'm not going to say any names for now anyway. We'll see, maybe in the future we'll start saying names. Thanks very much for that question. Hopefully I expanded on it a bit for you, but as I said, I'm only an idiot on the internet talking, so yeah, We'll see what you say. Right. Let's see what other questions we got. Right. And we got one. Best way or thing to start investing in as a complete novice. We are moving away from investing a little bit on this channel just because like it's so complicated and everything is so hard. But I can tell you what I do. I basically take money every day, every single day. I have money automatically going into the S&P 500 and then 2 other companies that I like, and I just keep it that simple now. We used to be trying to figure out all these things. It wasn't working for us. There was money lost. We invest in the S&P 5. I invest in the S&P 500 daily, and then 2 other companies that I like. And then in crypto, I do €10 a day. I think is also just split in between basically Ethereum and Bitcoin now, and that's what I do as investing wise. And I don't know if that's. I think that's the safest, most steady way to do it, but also be aware you can lose all your money investing. You can obviously make money, but you can lose money too. I am not a financial advisor. That was not financial advice, just my opinion. Right. Thinking you're falling behind your peers. Right. So I'm not going to name who said this one, but is a friend of mine, close friend of mine. Thinking you're falling behind your peers. Discuss. It's something to keep an eye on and something to watch out for yourself, because you can really bog yourself down on this. Now, I'm not going to say any names, but this particular guy, he's chosen a new career path recently, and obviously when you start a new career path, especially the one he started, you start off on low money, kind of like an apprenticeship, and you'll build your way up. Eventually you'll be on good money, and he knows this is what he wants to do, and he's been saying it for a long time. But at the same time, he's also done some things recently that some of his peers will look at and think, well, how lucky is he? For example, me, I look at one thing he's done recently, which was get married, and I would think, Jesus, like, fair play to him. Like, look, what an achievement to have found someone so young, someone you care about and have been with for so long, and now you're 25 or 26 years old, and you already have that difficult part of your life figured out, and now you can move on to focus on your career and then buying a house and all that kind of stuff. But it's important not to get weighed down, and it's like, if a fish compared its climbing a tree to a monkey or whatever that fucking saying is that I just butchered. It's the same thing, everyone starts to focus on things differently, and I've spoken this in a different episode. So for example, at the moment I find I'm quite career focused and I'm quite money focused, and that's what I'm choosing to focus on. And then on the other side of that, like relationships and things like that will take a back seat for me. Whereas for someone like for some other people, then they might be trying to get relationships and kids sorted first and then want to do career second, or vice versa. So you can't just focus too much on your peers and what they're doing, and most of the time, unless you know them personally, they're probably not doing as well as you think they're doing anyway. But use it as motivation, or use it as a bit of a push for you too. Like, if there's someone out there doing what you want to do, you're great. Always look forward, don't look back. That's what I was always saying. But it's important not to weigh yourself down, let yourself get bummed out, because some people have kids, some people don't, some people are moving away, some people aren't, some people are making loads of money, some people aren't making loads of money, some people go back to college when they're 30, do you know what I mean, because they're not happy with the career they chose. So it's just super important to make sure not to weigh yourself down, but to also be extremely aware. Self-awareness is key at the end of the day, and you need to realize what you're doing and keep an eye on what you're doing, and make sure that what you're doing is most important. But don't be afraid to look at other people and see what they're doing in life that you think you'd like to follow in. So that's all I have to say on that. Another question, right? How influenced we are as a society. She actually has 2 questions. So how influenced we are as a society, and part 2, how influenced we are by social media. I think questions is the wrong thing to call this. I asked for topics that would be good to discuss, so I guess questions aren't really the thing to call it. But either way, anyway. So how influenced we are as a society, and then also by social media. Societies have always been heavily influenced. So like, I'm not much of a historian now. Sam would be the one to talk more about that, so I'm not going to go back too far and embarrass myself when I don't know my dates for history. But if you think even just back in the 60s or 50s or 70s, and like punk rock was cool, and all these different bands like Michael Jackson was cool, and all these movie people are influenced, and the word influencers is new, and it's a social media term, but it's not a new thing, and there's always been influencers. And people were walking around with one glove on because Michael Jackson wore a glove, and then people were walking around with mohawks because the punk rockers had mohawks, and people had long hair because the Beatles had long hair, and people like, Jesus, even I remember trying to dress like Eminem, wearing pants that were too big for me and t-shirts that were too big for me and do-rags and hats and whatever else, and it's just like, it's the same thing, and people are always so easily influenced. But and I'm a sucker for it, and I know that there's going to be, because I get slagged about it in work all the time, that I'm very easily influenced. So I know that there's someone probably waiting for me to say that. So yes, I do find myself very easily influenced. Like some people that I quite like at the moment, Nico Leonard, I spoke about him already, watch guy. If he says that a watch brand is shit, I'll probably just agree with him. George Heaton, the owner I represent, you probably noticed, but I wear a lot of Represent clothes. It's a brand, George Heaton. I find him very influential. There's obviously a huge topic around I don't know if you're allowed to say his name on YouTube or not, but bald guy in Romania. There's huge topics around him. Loads of people are extremely influenced by him. For females, I don't know a lot of female influencers, but I don't know, like, your people influenced by Beyonce still. I'm not really sure what female influencers there are, but there's like Irish female influencers like Lauren Whelan. I'm sure people are influenced by her, or like Central C's girlfriend, Madeline. And then, yeah, like Central C, he's a huge influence. He's obviously a UK rapper, and he wears like all these tracksuits, and loads of people start wearing tracksuits. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think once you're choosing who influences you, and once your morals kind of align with theirs, and it's no harm to be influenced by someone who maybe is more. I don't know. I don't know how to say it. It's probably no harm having someone influence you, as long as it's a positive influence. And there's obviously no point in filling your head with negative nonsense and watching influencers that are bad people, and that are real like shitty personalities, shitty outlooks on life. And if you're being influenced by them, maybe keep an eye on it. But I think more so what this girl was talking about is just like being influenced as well by other people. Now, we spoke about your peers and stuff like that, but like just keeping in mind that everything you see on the internet is fake. Not everything, but like all these Instagram posts is just the best side of every person. Even just look at your own Instagram. You just take a second to look through your own Instagram, and you think how much of your life is actually portrayed correctly through Instagram. It's probably 1%, 5% maybe for some people. And then think about that when you look at other people's Instagrams, and you look at other people's lives and what they're doing, and where they're traveling to, and where they're staying, and what they're eating, and who they're hanging out with, and wow, how much they're drinking. Because you think about it, okay, you see some person you have on Instagram that's out every weekend, and they're like drinking, and they're drinking every weekend. They look like they're having the best party life ever. They're probably really depressed Monday throughout the weeks. All the alcohol, drugs and stuff has a real negative effect on their system and their psyche, and that's how I'd look at it. So like, just be careful what you're looking at, be careful who influences you. I think it's very hard to say to not be influenced, but just choose the correct people to be influenced by, and try and make sure that that the things you're taking in, you've thought about. Don't just follow everything completely blindly. Like, just think about what you're doing, and make sure it aligns with what you believe and what you think, and just make sure you're being a good person. I think that's the most important thing. Go back slightly a little bit, people are influenced by religion for years, still are. And the older I get, the more you think about religion, and you think about like a lot of the teachings. I know there's lots of every religion has its faults and has all these different problems that have happened throughout the years, but for the most part, the teachings in religion are quite good, and they're quite strong. And if that's something you can be influenced in by being a good person, and showing love to thy neighbor, and taking care of people, and doing charity work, whatever it is, good. Be influenced by that. Just choose carefully what you're doing, and think about what you're doing before you do it. And then I don't think there's any harm in being influenced. I think social media, there's no point in worrying about it anymore. There's no point in talking about how much of a disaster it is, because everyone is pretty much on it. Everyone's surrounded by it. Our kids are going to be even worse. They're going to be even more involved in it. So I think it's better to try and make social media a better place, to give a platform to people who are trying to send a better message. Trying to send a better message, rather than giving a platform to people with negative messages, and try to put a spin on social media that will give a better influence on people overall. Anyway, sorry. As I said, This was a late recording because I was away for the weekend, so sorry if my energy is a little bit lower. Thank you all so much if you got this far, listen to my rambles. Hit the like button, hit the notification button, leave a comment down below. Please send me in more questions. I enjoyed answering, I know they weren't questions. Send me some questions, please, so I can stop sounding like an idiot. Or else just send me topics you'd like me to discuss. You can go over to our Instagram, Sam and Gino. You can go to my personal Instagram, Gino1497. You can leave a comment down here below. You can go to my TikTok, Gino Forte. Whatever you like, you type in Gino Forte anywhere. There's not going to be that many of them. Message me, you'll find me. Okay, guys, thanks so much. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.